The call came in the middle of the night, and from the second I saw the name on the screen, I knew my life was about to split in two. I had just turned 26. My life with my fiancé, Liam, felt like it was finally settling into that sweet, comfortable rhythm people talk about but rarely find. We had a cozy apartment just a few blocks from my childhood home, and for the first time in years, I felt like everything was falling into place. Then I heard my father's voice, shaky, raw, like he had been holding back tears for hours. "She's gone, Emily." 2 words. That's all it took to change everything. The funeral was a blur of hugs, casseroles, and whispered condolences. My father, Daniel, had been married to my mom, Maggie, for over 30 years. They were high school sweethearts, the kind of couple that made you believe in forever. At the cemetery, I clung to his hand. His grip was so tight, like he was holding on to the last living piece of her. In the weeks after, I started stopping by his house almost every day. At first, I told myself it was just to check on him, to make sure he was eating and getting out of bed. But before I knew it, I was cleaning his kitchen, doing laundry, and even restocking the fridge, just like I used to when I was a teenager. The house looked the same, but without Mom, it felt hollow, like the walls were holding their breath. 3 weeks after the funeral, I came by with groceries. I was putting milk into the fridge when Dad walked into the kitchen. His voice was serious when he said, "Emily, I need to ask you something." He only used my full name when it was important. I turned to face him. "What is it?" He hesitated, his eyes shadowed with loneliness. "I want you to move back in. Just for a little while." I froze. "Move in? Dad, you know Liam and I." "I know," he interrupted softly. "It's just, this house is too quiet. I can't sleep. I eat alone. I wake up alone. I'm not used to it." The sadness in his eyes went deeper than grief. It was a kind of emptiness that scared me. That night, I talked it over with Liam. He listened, his brow furrowed. "It's a tough time," he said. "If you think it'll help him, go. Just, don't lose yourself in the process." So I packed a suitcase and moved back into my childhood room. The first few days were surprisingly peaceful. I cooked dinner, we watched TV, and Dad even smiled a few times. But then, little things started happening. One night, he asked if I could sit with him in the living room until he fell asleep. "The house feels less empty when you're here," he murmured. I didn't think much of it. The next night, he asked me to wear Mom's old bathrobe. "You look so much like her in it," he said, almost wistfully. It was strange, but I chalked it up to grief warping his mind. Then one evening, I walked into the kitchen and found him holding one of Mom's nightgowns. His back was to me, shoulders trembling. "You remind me of her so much," he whispered when he turned around, his eyes glassy. I told myself he was just lost, clinging to memories. But then came the night that changed everything. We were having dinner, spaghetti and meatballs, something simple. He buttered his bread slowly, then looked up at me. "I've been thinking about moving on," he said. Relief washed over me. "That's good, Dad. Mom wouldn't want you to be alone forever." He nodded. "I agree. But I don't want someone new. I want someone who understands me, who knows this house, who knows me." I tilted my head, confused. "Okay." Then he reached across the table and took my hand. "I want you to stay not just as my daughter, but as my partner." My stomach dropped. At first, I thought I had misunderstood. But the look in his eyes, the way his fingers lingered on mine, it made my skin crawl. "No, Dad. That's not okay." My voice was sharp, final. He immediately pulled back, apologizing over and over, blaming grief, saying he didn't mean it. But I knew he had. That night, I called Liam and told him everything. "Emily, you need to get out of there. Tonight." But I didn't. Not yet. I needed to understand what was really going on. The next morning, while Dad was out on his walk, I went into his room. I hadn't snooped in years, but desperation pushed me forward. In his desk drawer, I found a stack of journals. The first entries were heartbreaking pages of longing for Mom, descriptions of nights spent staring at the ceiling. But as I read on, the tone shifted. He began writing about me, how much I reminded him of her, How maybe it was fate that brought me back home. One entry made my stomach twist. Emily is my light in the darkness. Maybe she was meant to come back for more than just help. Maybe this is the universe telling me something. That night, I told him I was leaving. You need help, Dad. Real help. This isn't just grief, it's something deeper, and it's not healthy. He didn't argue. His shoulders sagged. You're right. I've been lost. Going back to Liam felt like stepping into sunlight after weeks in the dark. I slept 12 hours straight and cried when I woke up, not from fear, but from a strange kind of mourning. In a way, I'd lost both of my parents. Weeks passed. Dad started therapy and joined a grief support group. He planted flowers in Mom's garden and started cooking for himself. We still talk, and I visit him once a week. We share stories about Mom, sometimes laugh, sometimes cry. But we never talk about that night. And we never will. Because some lines, once crossed, can't be uncrossed. And some wounds, no matter how deep, can still find a way to heal.